Hi everyone, we're finally at the finish line. Today I'm gonna read chapter 14 of Wildmoore, Wrath of Zane, the final chapter. Hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 14, Same Home, New Natalie. Natalie remembered entering the cave, seeing the saddened faces of her new friends at Wildmoore. And finally, total darkness took over. Suddenly, she heard a continuous beeping noise, and her eyes began to flutter open. Of course, without her glasses, her vision was a bit blurry, so it was difficult to make out what new surroundings she was in. Luckily, thanks to the beeping she heard, Natalie gathered that she was in the hospital, and she was hooked up to a heart monitor. Natalie was also lying in a hospital bed, and on her bedside was a familiar face that she was more than happy to see again. Kyle. Kyle was sleeping in his chair a bit, but he quickly woke up when he saw Natalie opening her eyes. Relieved, he replied, "Oh, Nat, you scared the heck out of me," Natalie said in a near sarcastic tone. "Nice to see you too, Kyle." Kyle chuckled at her remark before retrieving her glasses from a nearby table and gently placing them on her face, her vision becoming much clearer now. What happened?" Natalie managed to ask. "When I heard that Laurel was after you, I ran after you guys, and you disappeared in the park somewhere. I wasn't able to find you until 3 days later, and you must have hit your head hard because there was a gash in your forehead," Kyle explained. Natalie listened to his story, and of course, Natalie knew that this was his version of what had happened. But she couldn't tell him her side because she knew he wouldn't believe her. "Where's Aunt Mari?" Natalie asked. "She's on her way here," Kyle answered, and then continued. "You could have just told me that Laurel is after you." "Well, she didn't come after me until soon after, and Laurel tried to forcibly take my necklace, but it was already too late to go back, and I ran. I have to avoid her somehow," Natalie managed to say. "But still, you could have told me," Kyle said worriedly, but a voice replied, "I wouldn't worry too much, Kyle." Natalie and Kyle turned to see Mari wheel herself into the room before she replied, "My niece is the toughest as they come. I never doubted for a second that she can fight for herself, even if running is the smartest choice she could come up with." "Aunt Mari," Natalie said, trying to sit up, but stopped when she felt an ache in her forehead, causing Kyle to lay her back down and say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, easy. The doctor put you on the 24-hour watch, so don't rush it." "Kyle, can you leave both my niece and me alone? We kind of need to talk," Mari said. Kyle nodded and left the room as Mari wheeled towards her niece's bedside with an apologetic look. Natalie knew what that look was for, and asked, "You know that I knew, don't you?" Mari let out a sigh and said, "Of course I knew. When you haven't come home for 3 days and taken a trip to the park just a few hours, I saw the cave forming. I knew it had to be your father that brought you to Wildmoore." Mari then gave a rueful look to Natalie and said, "I am so sorry that I never told you any of this. I wanted to tell you when you're older. I just never expected you to find out the truth on your own this way." Natalie looked at her aunt with a soft gaze and said, I'm not mad that you didn't tell me, Aunt Mari. I'm glad I was able to see where it came from, and know who you and Mom were when you were younger. Everyone, including the animals, is all amazing, especially my guardian dragon. Mari's eyes lit up when Natalie said this and asked, "Your guardian dragon?" Natalie nodded and said, "His name is Worthwin, and he was my best friend. The forest warriors and I got off on the wrong foot at first, but we're all good now." Suddenly, Mari asked with a worried look, "The dark warlocks didn't try to hurt you, did they?" Natalie chuckled and explained, "At first. But they're gone now, Aunt Mari. Zane and all of his men are gone. They will never hurt or kill anyone ever again. Everyone is safe and at peace now." Mari felt tears flooding her eyes, and a small smile appeared on her face. Natalie saw this and assured her, "Aunt Mari, please don't cry." Mari replied, wiping away her tears, "Oh, sweetie, this is not sad crying. This is proud crying. If your mom were around, she would have been so proud of you for what you did. And you already made me and the rest of the world of Wildmoore proud." Natalie grinned at her aunt with tears in her own eyes before she slowly sat up and leaned over to hug Mari, both teary-eyed because not only was Natalie finally home, but glad to finally know who her family was and where she originally came from. Unbeknownst to her and Mari, Kyle listened to their conversation in the hallway with a small smile on his face before walking off to use the bathroom. He walked into the bathroom, but only stopped to look at himself in the mirror. Kyle let out a sigh and slowly untied his lucky red bandana from his neck to reveal something that no one, not even Natalie or Mari, knew. A heart-shaped mark on his neck. His green eyes then glowed into a shimmering emerald color. And he said, "I'm with you, Natalie. Always." A day later, Natalie was released from the hospital, and both she and Mari were finally heading home. On the bus ride, Natalie gently pulled out her journal and noticed the photo of herself and her mother marked on a different spot than it was the first time she arrived at Wildmoore. Now curious, she opened her journal where the photo was marked, and she was both stunned and touched by what she had found. It was on the very last page, and it said, "Write about what comes to your heart, and everything else will follow. In good faith, Her Majesty Queen Harley of Wildmoore." Natalie wasn't sure how the Queen was able to grab a hold of her journal in order to write this message. But then she remembered her troubles in drafting a story to Amelia. Amelia must be the one who told the Queen this, and before she had left to go home, Queen Harley must have written these parting words. Suddenly, Natalie thought of everything she had gone through in Wildmoore, and all the people and animals she had met, including the battle against Zane and the warlocks. That was when it hit her, and she was going to start writing the minute she and her aunt got home. In truth, once the bus reached their stop, Mari and Natalie arrived at their apartment, and the first thing Natalie did was run to her room with her journal in hand. She went to her desk and began writing about the experiences she had in Wildmoore, still fresh in her mind. Everything from how she had gotten there to the final battle against the Dark Warlocks. However, instead of using her own name, she used a different one for the main character. She knew that everything she had experienced was real, but to the real world, it was all fictional. And Natalie knew it was how it would always be. But Natalie wasn't too worried. because the only thing she could possibly think of was the thrill of authoring this story, and how excited Miss Stanford would be when she read this full story for herself. Spring break had passed, and Natalie was back at school this time with a newfound confidence that students and also teachers had never seen before. Natalie even looked happier than before, which is a rare sight for anybody to see. But her newfound certainty didn't exactly sit well with one person. And it was the same person who no longer attends her school. On her way to 8th period, which is Miss Stanford's English class, Natalie spotted a familiar face that she had never thought would grace the halls of Trinity Middle School again. Laurel. Well, looks like little orphan Natalie is back from the dead and came to give me my necklace. Laurel sneered as she inched closer toward her nemesis. Natalie wasn't fazed by her words this time and said, "You're not getting my necklace, Laurel. It belongs to me, and it's a family heirloom. And last time I checked, you're not family, not even close." Laurel was taken aback that Natalie talked back to her, but she snarled, "Don't talk to me like that, freak. You will give me that necklace, or I will call the police for theft." Natalie rolled her eyes in annoyance and said, "The police are not going to believe you for me stealing my home property. And what are you doing in school? I thought you were not allowed here anymore." "Oh, once I heard you were out of your little hospital nap, I followed you here so I could take back what's rightfully mine," Laurel said with an evil grin. Natalie knew what this mean girl meant and said, "You're not getting my necklace because it's never been yours. It belonged to my family and me, just like I said. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to give something to Miss Stanford." Natalie turned to walk away in the direction of Miss Stanford's classroom. Natalie angrily looked at the girl before charging towards her, and shouted, about to reach out to grab her, "Don't you dare walk away from me, you non-special freak!" But Natalie already anticipated Laurel trying to stop her, so she swiftly slid to the side to dodge Laurel's grab, which led to Laurel falling on the floor. Laurel looked up at Natalie angrily and loudly accused, "You pushed me, you freak!" "I didn't even touch you. I just avoided you trying to grab me," Natalie said, as if on cue. Principal Sully walked out from his office when he heard the commotion, and his voice boomed, "What in the world is going on out here?" Before Natalie could say a word, Laurel jumped in as soon as she stood up and shouted, "This freak pushed me to the ground for no reason. Principal Sully, you should have expelled her for doing this to me. And on top of that, she also stole my necklace." However, Principal Sully looked at Laurel with a disappointed gaze mixed with annoyance, and replied, "Laurel Jeffers, didn't I tell you that you are suspended from the school? Now you are harassing Natalie outside of school? Honestly, words couldn't express how deeply disappointed I am in you." Laurel was shocked that Principal Sully didn't believe her claim and said, "But Principal Sully, this freak pushed me to the floor and stole my necklace. I have seen Natalie wear that necklace the day you attacked her in these halls. And one detail that you failed to see, but I did. Her initials were engraved on the attachment of the crystal," Principal Sully said. Natalie was taken aback by this and looked at the crystal's attachment and saw her initials engraved and another one underneath, NV and GV. Natalie looked up at Principal Sully in shock, and before she could ask Principal Sully how he spotted that, he turned to Laurel and said, "I am calling your father about this, and you will have to answer to him." Principal Sully was about to grab Laurel's arm to escort her to his office, but Laurel defiantly pulled away from him and said, "Don't touch me, old man. My father won't believe thing you say anyways. He'll believe me when I tell him you try to kidnap me, and he'll believe me when I tell him that freak stole my necklace. Don't be too sure, young lady, a familiar voice said. Everyone turned to see it was Mr. Jeffers standing in the doorway. Mr. Jeffers walked into the hallway and said, I saw and heard everything. Laurel, to say I am disappointed of your behavior is a complete understatement. But Daddy, I was just telling that freak to give me my necklace back, and she wouldn't give it back, Laurel whined. Mr. Jeffers let out a frustrated sigh and said, Laurel, that necklace belongs to Natalie and her family, not you. No matter how many tantrums you've thrown, or how many things you tried to do to torment this young girl, it still doesn't change the fact that we're moving to Perry. And it still doesn't change what happened with your mom. It was your fault Mom left. If you hadn't talked back to her, she would never have left, Laurel shouted. Your mother left because she cheated on me and left to be with her boyfriend. She was the one who gave up on you, not me, Mr. Jeffers shouted. But Laurel shook her head and said, Don't you dare lie to me. She didn't cheat on you. She did, Laurel. We will talk more about it when I take you home. Mr. Jeffers said, about to take his daughter's arm, but Laurel pulled away and snarled, I am not leaving without that necklace the freak stole from me. Laurel, that's enough. We're leaving right now. And Mr. Jeffers said, this time, taking a hold of his daughter's arm, and finally, Laurel Jeffers is never seen in Stillwater again. Natalie now understood why Laurel was acting the way she did, but the emotional damage was too great to fix, and Laurel was too far gone to ever change. Natalie turned to Principal Sully and asked, Are you okay, sir? I am alright, Miss Vero. It's you I'm worried about, Principal Sully said. I'm okay, sir. No harm done. Natalie assured him with a smile on her face. Principal Sully was relieved to hear this, but he was also happy to see that Natalie was in better spirits than she was before. He then noticed her journal in her hands and asked, Something important in that journal of yours? Natalie excitedly nodded and said with a warm smile, Yeah, something important that I've been able to finish. And it's probably the best story yet. Alright, that's the final chapter of Wildmoore, Wrath of Zane. What did you guys think of the entire story overall? Your favorite character, favorite part? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And there's a sequel underway. Just keep your eyes out on it. And if you would like your own copy, you can purchase it on Amazon. Thanks for watching all my videos. And until we meet again, bye for now.